Hey, how you doing? This is Lee Gerstmann and I have another record review for you. Again, I have to say, yo, what's up, bro? To Ian Wadley because he suggested that I do an album by Bob Dylan called Blood on the Tracks. Well, I've known of Bob Dylan ever since I was a young kid, and I had some of his albums here and there. I never really owned Blood on the Tracks, except maybe I did have it on CD for a little bit, and I did hear it, and I had heard it when I was drunk, so I had kind of didn't remember what I thought of it, except I grew up with the song Lily, Rosemary, and the Jack of Hearts, so I knew that. So, anyway, this was a period of Bob Dylan which was like in between the periods that I had. I had some albums before this and some after this, but this really wasn't one that I had, even though I was kind of familiar with it to a certain extent. But anyway, I got familiar with it for this review. And so here are my things on the songs. Okay, the first one, Tangled Up in Blue. This sounds like Bob Dylan being influenced by Bob Dylan. It has its own sound, which I like a lot. It's as good as Blonde on Blonde for a different reason. I'm yearning to see a good-looking lady like Emmylou Harris wearing a tucked-in blue top and belted jeans, dancing and singing to this. And then Simple Twist of Fate. This sounds like an old reworking of Peter Frampton with a little bit of Ray Anthony for good measure. It also would work well on Van Morrison's Astral Weeks album. It's not the Bob Dylan I'm used to, but it's cool. And then You're a Big Girl Now. This is really good, but it belongs more on Van Morrison's album His Band and the Street Choir, which is my favorite Van Morrison album. So that's a compliment. And then Idiot Wind. This would work on a Rick Danko solo album. I could also see this on an older Bob Dylan album. And then You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome When You Go. This is just a little too Neil Diamond-ish for my taste. I can deal with it, but it isn't my favorite. And then Meet Me in the Morning. This sounds like a Rolling Stones song that Keith Richards would sing. It's pretty good. And then Lily, Rosemary, and the Jack of Hearts. This sounds like the Dillards with Garth Hudson guesting on organ. It's my favorite song on here. And let me add that you should listen to the Dillards. I suggest you start with Back Porch Bluegrass. And then the song If You See Her, Say Hello. This sounds like the group Love. I could see it on their first album. This sounds very L.A. psych folk rock. Not bad. And then Shelter from the Storm. This is the first song on here that doesn't make me think of anything else. This sounds like it belongs on this album. For that reason, it's my second favorite on here. And then the last song, Buckets of Rain. I could see Tom Rush doing this and making it excellent. Dylan's vocal delivery on this is a little too Glenn Yarbrough-ish for my taste, but the guitar part is great. So I would say overall this is a really good Bob Dylan album, and I'm somewhat surprised, not at how good it is, but at the fact that he's doing a lot of different styles. And so it makes me think, yeah, he was good at being versatile, but it wasn't something that I expected. So if you're a fan more of the blonde on blonde period. Well, that one song that I mentioned did sound a little bit like that, but this is going to be not like that. It's going to be good, but it's going to be something a little bit different. But if you're into that, and if you're just into Dylan, whatever he does, then I definitely suggest you get this, because it's a pretty good listen. Well, anyway, thank you, Ian, for suggesting this album. Cheers!